it away, Aaron. Every Shabbos, before Shabbos begins, the heavenly angels also bring in Shabbos. We know that when we sing Shalom Aleichem on Friday night, we are welcoming the heavenly angels to our home as we come back from shul and we make Kiddush with our families. And at that time, the angels go up on high to Hashem to bless the Jewish people that keep Shabbos. And we ask that those angels should bless us, because we say that we lit the candles, we cleaned our homes, we got dressed up in the honor of Shabbos. Now unfortunately this past Shabbos, most Jews around the world couldn't get to shul. Unfortunately, we still have a decree and we cannot be in shul, but we certainly all were able to get ready for Shabbos. We were able to light Shabbos candles, we were able to clean our homes, we were able to get dressed for Shabbos, we were able to bring the spirit and holiness of Shabbos to ourselves and to our families. And we hope that the prayers that the angels said to the Rebbeinu Shalom, to God Almighty, before Shabbos and during Shabbos, should bless us in the week ahead. We ask the angels to pray on our behalf. I'd like to share a few words at this time. This past Friday, yesterday, the Hebrew date was Beis Nisan, the second day of Nisan, and it marked 100 years since the passing of the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rebbe Rashab, Shalom Dever, and he was buried in Rostov, in Russia. And actually, when we were in Russia for Menachem's wedding several years ago, we took a flight from Moscow to Rostov, which is a 2-hour flight, and I took my boys, and we went for the day to visit the gravesite of the Rebbe Rashab. I've spent so many years in yeshiva throughout my life studying the teachings of the Rebbe Rashab, studying his Mamorim, his Hasidus. The yeshiva that he established is Tenchet Mimim, which is the main Chabad yeshiva around the world today. So I felt it was a special privilege to have the opportunity to fly to Rostov. In fact, actually, the Shliach to Rostov, Rabbi Chaim Danziger, was here actually in Dover Heights a few times. Besides going to his kever, his oil that day, we also went to his home. And actually, they have there in his house, actually where he passed away, and the famous words that he said as he was about to leave this world, and he said, that even though my soul goes to heaven, goes to above, goes back home, back to Hashem, but my writings, my teachings, I leave with you, with his family, with his Hasidim, for Am Yisrael, for all future generations, till the coming of Mashiach and beyond. And these were the words of comfort that the Rebbe Rashab gave, that when we study the teachings of the Tzaddik, we are actually able to connect to his soul. However high the soul is, it always feels connected to a Yid, to a Jew that learns in this world Torah, and the Torah of a Tzaddik. Actually, downstairs in the apartment building where the Rebbe Rashab lived, and now there's no Jews living there, we actually had to organize someone to come and open up for us. And it was open, we were able to go, they opened up, and we were able to go and see his apartment and where he used to have a fabrenim. And there was a sign, this is where the Rebbe used to sit, the Rebbe Rashab, when he used to speak to his Hasidim. It's a small apartment. Downstairs they had built a mikvah, which was closed for many years, and there was a little bit of water in it. And it's been reopened now for those that want to go to the mikvah that the Rebbe Rashab used when he was living in Rostov over 100 years ago. I would just like to share one idea of the Rebbe Rashab, which I think is relevant to the times that we are all going through now. And the Rebbe Rashab's neshama, Rebbe Nishmas Eden, as he is known, is certainly blessing from his holy place in heaven all of Am Yisrael and beseeching God Almighty, together with all the other great tzaddikim and neshamas, to ask Hashem to bless our world, to bless Am Yisrael, to bless humanity during this difficult time, that we should be able to get through it as quickly as possible. But I do want to say one short idea that happened in the Rebbe Rashab's lifetime. Rebbe Rashab used to say very deep ma'amorim, Hasidic discourses, and the Hasidim would wait a very long time and hang on to every word of the maimer, of the Hasidic discourse. Now, on one occasion, the way they used to do it and the way a maimer was said was it was always preceded by a niggun, otherwise known as the maimer niggun. And the niggun, just to get everybody's soul focused and directed into the words of Hasidus that the Rebbe was going to say. And on one occasion, the Hasidim decided they wanted to sing this song very quickly because they wanted to hear the words, the Maimer, the Hasidic teachings of the Rebbe Rashab. So they quickly went through the niggun, not giving the niggun the appropriate respect and soul that the niggun required from the Hasidim. And when they finished hurriedly singing the niggun, the Rebbe Rashab stopped and he said, before I say the Maimer, we have to live in the moment. If the moment calls to sing a niggun, then we have to live and take whatever we can out of the niggun. The Maimer will come, and when that moment comes, we'll take from the Maimer what we need to take. But we shouldn't be rushing to get to the next stage of anything. If we are experiencing something, experience it with all your heart, with your soul, with every fiber of your being, because if this is what you need to go through right now, then take it in. And that was a very great life lesson that the Rebbe Rashab taught us. And I think for all of us now, while we are all waiting for this moment, these moments and these days and these weeks to be over, that they can go behind us, but we are living through them. And therefore, let us take whatever these moments have. Let us try and appreciate whatever messages we can take, and every person can take their own message of what we need to do day by day. Maybe we're staying a little bit more in the home, maybe we need to give a little bit more attention. We can, to our families, to our children. Maybe we can have a few more moments to study, to be a little bit more introspective, to think about the true meaning of life. Now that we're not rushing from place to place to place, we can stop, we can slow down and think, where is my life taking me? Where am I heading? Am I actually living the life that I need to live? These moments will be over soon, please God. But until then, let's try and bring in to our hearts and souls whatever messages we can take, because if we're living through them, God wants us to take a message. Let's sing the Rastov Niggun. Come join us. This is a niggun from Rostov. Rebbe Rashab used to sing this niggun, and it was sung before the Maimer. The main thing is not to worry. It's not easy, but we are not allowed to worry. We have to trust in Hashem. And as I've said already several times, and I'll keep on saying it, both to myself, to my family, to all of us, we cannot worry. There's a nice Yiddish song that tells us not to worry. Hashem will look after us and take care of us.
Speaking of the Rebbe Rashab, a good Tavach, everybody. By the way, good Tavach, Chaim. Good Chodesh this week. We should have a month of miracles, Mazel, good news, L'chaim, Amen. So, speaking of the Rebbe Rashab, there's a pretty powerful story that the Rebbe, our Rebbe, relates. The Rebbe Rashab was in Lubavitch, and there was a chassid who was down on his mazel. Anything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong. He had issues in his parnasa, his geschäft was down in the dumps. He lost everything. His children, one was sick, the other one wasn't giving him nachas. And it was just really a rachmanis, as they say, a nebuch rachmanis. And he went into the Rebbe Rashab for a yechidus, for an audience to ask for bracha. And he came into the Rebbe Rashab and he said, Rebbe, why do I deserve this? I don't deserve this. Please give me a blessing. Things should turn around. I need mazel. A bissel of mazel. Make it good. Pray to God. Come on, I need the parnasa. I need the nachas. The gesund. It's not fair. Rebbe Rashab looked at him and became very, very serious. And the Rebbe Rashab stared at him for quite a few seconds, a powerful look. And then he said to him, Rabbi Yid, unfortunately, I see in Shamayim, I see in the heavenly court that your soul, you are not destined for prosperity, for success. I can't bless you. Unfortunately, the doors for you are closed. I'm very, very sorry. Geh Gesundheit. Go in peace. Now this Rabbi Yid was completely blown away, to say the least. He was just shocked, just shell-shocked, mortified. What? The tzaddik can't help me? Can't give me a bracha? After a minute of quiet and confusion, he gets up to leave. He walks out of the office of the Rebbe, starts schlepping his feet with his head down, and the Razor, who was the brother of the Rebbe Rashab, walks over to this chassid. He says, why are you in such a bad mood? You just came out of the Rebbe, what's wrong? This chassid burst into tears. And I mean completely shattered, completely just burst into sobs and wails like a little kid. You know, things was going so bad for me, and I walk into the Rebbe with my hopes up, and he tells me he can't bless me. He can't bless me, what is this? And the Razor walks into the Rebbe Rashab to his brother. He says, what's this I hear? A chassid came into you for a bracha and you said you couldn't help him. What sort of Rebbe are you? And he smiled and he says, call him back in. And this Rebbe Yid walks into the Rebbe Rashab, and the Rebbe Rashab says, you can dry your tears. I just see now in the heavenly court, you'll be alright. The doors have opened up for you miraculously, and I bless you with all the good things, gesund, parnosa, nachas, mazel, everything will be great, don't worry, have faith in God. And he go in peace, geh Gesundheit. He walks out of the Rebbe Rashab's office, and obviously things became better for him miraculously. His children were taken care of, and his parnosa became better, and everything worked out. And the Razor, the brother of the Rebbe, asked him, what was that story all about? He came in, you said the doors of heaven were closed, he couldn't be blessed. And then he comes in a second time and he said, yeah, it's all fine. What changed? And the Rebbe Rashab said to him something which I think is very, very powerful, and it's a great lesson we can take home in these confusing times that we're living in. The Rebbe Rashab said to him, when this fellow walked into me, he was so sure of himself. He was convinced that everything, that he deserves all good blessings, that everything should come his way, that he deserves it all, that he's the master of his own destiny. He was a bit arrogant. He wasn't humble. He didn't truly realize that it all comes from God. He thought he deserved everything, and therefore, in the heavenly court, it was decreed that we can't help this fellow, because when you're too sure of yourself, when you're too Rabbi's machshavas belev ish, when we like it says, "Am Mensch tracht und Gott lacht," when we get too sure of ourselves and we're too confident that everything should go the way we have in mind, then sometimes that blocks the channels. And sometimes, in order to be able to be worthy recipients of God's gifts and kindness and goodness and blessing, sometimes we need a little bit of humility. We need to realize that we turn our eyes up to Hashem and it's all from God. Our help comes from Hashem and not nobody else. We have to realize that we're not the masters of the universe. That whatever we plan and whatever we put ourselves to do, that's all very good. But ultimately there's an orchestrator, and we have to be humble. We have to believe in God. We have to trust Hashem. We can't let ourselves be too arrogant. And when this person was broken, when I told him that he can't be helped, and then he shattered and he cried and he had that realization of humility, then he became a different person. And then I saw that he was worthy for all the good things. He was now a changed man. He was now a worthy vessel for God's kindness. And this is a message for us, sometimes we can think that, things are going so smoothly that we forget, we can forget we're human. We think that we run the show sometimes. And when we think we run the show and it gets to us, sometimes that could be a blockage. We don't allow God's kindness to shine. Sometimes what we need is a little bit of a reminder, that we need to remind ourselves that Am Mensch tracht und Gott lacht, that Atzas Hashem Yisokul, may I know Yezri, from where will my help come? May Hashem, Oisi Shemayim Oretz, God is the maker of the heavens and the earth. And when we have that realization that it's all from God and that we're just His creations, then with that humility we become worthy of all God's kindness. Chaim. On B minor. An English song about the Western Wall on Friday night.
Oh, one of my favorites growing up as a child. I used to sing this almost every Shabbos at home.
Shabbos Yerushalayim. The Western Wall on Friday night. First time ever there. Strapped into his knapsack with his long curly hair. Stood there for a while, broke out with a smile, commotions overwhelming joy. The men were dancing there, their hearts so full of love, sang such happy tunes to thank the one above for showing them the way, giving them the day to rest, rejoice, have peace of mind, and pray. Just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Just one Shabbos, come and join with me. Let's sing and dance to the sky. Lift up spirits so high. We'll show them all is true. Let them come and join us too. Just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Just one Shabbos, come and join with me. Let's sing and dance to the sky. With our spirits so high. We'll show them all it's true. Let them come and join us too. I said, hello, my friend. You seem to be amused. He said, much more than that. I haven't been confused. I know I am a Jew. I was bar mitzvah too. But Shabbos in my home. He asked to join with us to understand and see. Spent his time with us in total ecstasy. Next Shabbos came along. His feelings grew so strong. He first began to feel that he belonged. 1, 2, 3, just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Just one Shabbos, come and join with me. Let's sing and dance to the sky with our spirits so high. We'll show them all this true. Let them come and join us through. Just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Just one Shabbos, come and join with me. Let's sing and dance to the sky with our spirits so high. We'll show them all it's true. Let them come and join us too. He found his treasure, made some changes in his life. Ran a family, his children and his wife. They learn new things each day to live the Torah way. The message of Shabbos that play. Now every Friday night they'll go down to the wall. Invite some people home so they can tell them all. They teach them this new song. Join and sing it all. And soon we'll all be free. Oh, and let them like us go. Hey, just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Just one Shabbos, come and join with me. Let's sing and dance to the sky with our spirits so high. We'll show them all it's true. Let them come and join us through. Just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Just one Shabbos, come and join with me. Let's sing and dance to the sky with our spirits so high. We'll show them all it's true. Let them come and join us. So I have good news to tell you. Mashiach's on his way. We won't wait any longer. It's coming any day. Hold on just a little bit longer. And every word he promised will be. Just hold on and you'll see. So I have good news to tell you. Mashiach's on his way. No, we won't wait any longer. It's coming any day. So hold on just a little bit longer. And every word he promised will be. Just hold on and you'll see.
Alright, unfortunately we are coming towards the end of tonight's Havdalla Kumzitz. We've got to do one more nigun and we are going to finish off with a simple with joy. I would like to ask all of you watching, please join us and sing with us together with your families. I want to wish you a Shavua Tov, Good Tov. Let's have faith in Hashem, let's have bitachon, let's hold on strong. God is with us. Let's be the simcha, let's bring joy to the week ahead. We are in Chodesh Nisan, we're in the month of Geulah, the month of redemption coming towards Pesach. And actually, please God, next month's is Shabbos. We're going to do a special Pesach edition of the Kumzitz. We're going to have special Pesach songs in Nidunim, and we'll be able to all sing along and join and learn together as we come towards Pesach next week. All right, let's conclude. We wish you all Shavua Tov. Sing all together. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Rabbi Hazy. Thank you, Menachem. From Dover Heights, Shul, all of our love, all of our simchas, all of our prayers, all of our blessings, from here to the whole community, to the whole world. Amen. Let's go. Hey, I get it out. All the best for the weekend. Hey!